Hi everybody, welcome to the 42nd episode of Voice of Silence, Season 3. Why Voice of Silence? You know, it's time that I actually told everybody why is this called Voice of Silence because so many people ask me this individually. So the reason is that there are actually two kinds of pain that all of us go through. Right now, as we are sitting, all of us, and I can say this with authority because I've spoken with enough number of people in my life, all of us are facing some or the other pain right now as we speak. Now, if I start talking to you, 15-20 minute के बाद या after 15-20 sentences, each one of us, mostly women, will start tearing up or crying based on a certain raw nerve that we all have. Now, the two types of pain, one is necessary for our growth and it is unavoidable. वो तो ऊपर वाले ने दिए. The other pain that I'm speaking about is the unnecessary pain. कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है उसकी. But why do we still tolerate it? Why? Because we live in a society that is constantly judging us. As an example, I have spent almost my entire life, I'm a very, very emotional person. And I'm a product of pain actually. Now I'm healed, which is why this. But the reason is, every time I want to open up with somebody, what I've noticed with my pain is that when I speak and I cry, the first reaction, man or woman, is, okay, cheer up. Doesn't matter. It's all good. मेरे साथ भी हुआ है, उसके साथ भी हुआ है, ये क्या होता है? So what? Deal with it, correct? Whereas अगर मैं बस रो लूँ थोड़ा रोने दो मुझे, थोड़ी देर रोने दो, आधा घंटा, शायद वो प्रॉब्लम ही गायब हो जाएगी. The problem, and you move on to the next thing. This I've realized after 42 years. That's why today's 42nd episode is super special for me, and I had to say this today. And that's where I come in because I've realized it. So I thought, if nobody's been there for me, can I be there for other people and listen? And believe me, I spend a lot of time listening to my speakers. जो यहाँ बात होती है, वो सारी कैमरा पे नहीं आती, वो पीछे होती है, and all of them cry. Each one of them, mostly. That is the reason why Voice of Silence was started. The second thing that I want to talk about in the same breath is, please, I have to talk about my team. So number one, Pratik, all of you can see the one behind the camera. He's been there from almost the, I think, 4th or 5th episode. So uske bina to ye kuch ho nahi sakta hai. So he's our videographer. Number two, sitting right there is Deepa Kulkarni, the one in the second row with the hoop earrings. She's a content writer. She's been there. These are unconditional support wala people. So they've been there. I mean, I alone, I'm not doing this. Number three, sitting right here. She's been there like how? I mean, I don't know उनको बोलना क्या है. Like photography, कैमरा नहीं है, मैं लेके आऊँ, क्या नहीं है, मैं कराती हूँ. Like unconditional जो होता है. She's been there. Number four is Aditya Chakravarti, Adi, the cafe owner, and his partner, Dinkar Devgan. They are the ones who are giving us this beautiful cafe. And Adi is also the designer for all the creatives that you see. So without all of this, it is just not possible. So may I please ask you to give a little round of applause for these people? Thank you. Thank you. And the third thing before we actually begin officially is I, with my hands folded, I'm going to ask your support after it is done today to just subscribe, please, because believe me, एक तो होता है कि पैसे डाल के आप बढ़ाते रहो YouTube, तब क्या होगा ना, चलिए my reason. अगर 100 लोग मैं जिनको जानती हूँ, उनका अगर भला हो जाए ना, within गुड़गांव, within 2 kilometers, तब जाके ये पर्पस फुलफिल होगा. मेरा पर्पस फुलफिल 1 million सब्सक्राइबर्स से नहीं होगा, because it will become about me then. It will become about my channel. My channel has 1 million subscribers and look how much I'm earning from that. Believe me, उसके लिए मेरा other professions are enough. So I need your support. I'm a very small entity on YouTube, but I really दिल से कर रही हूँ मैं. So all I need is your support. Please, as subscription, just subscribe. That's it. If you find it worthy, not right now. And second, if you feel that this is worthy of any donations, then that's a jar and that's a QR code, anything. If you feel like after the event is over. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. And now we begin. So, okay. I think as human beings, how we are differentiated from animals or anybody else is that we are aware that we are human beings, which means we have the choice of making decisions at every point in time. So decisions to be happy, decisions to be sad. Now, as I told you about my story, मुझे तो अब जाके समझ में आया that वो decision है after every thought that, okay, I'm feeling bad, but I can turn it around and still feel good. Imagine now doing it with a smile. मुझे नहीं आता ये. If I'm in a very angry mood and immediately I tell myself, no, no, it's okay. Right now you're feeling angry. Now turn and smile. मुझसे नहीं होता. But there are people who are just that, which is her. She's always smiling. Will we all agree or no? I have never, ever seen her sad. And believe me, I've known Deepti Mittal, who is, by the way, 40-second speaker. I've known her now for what, 7, 8 years?
More than that.
More than that. This woman I did not know had gone through so much, and yet there's always a smile on her face. I mean, that is something we are going to take away from today. A little intro about her. Most of us know, but the ones on camera, we have the 40-second speaker, which is Deepti Mittal. She is, well, a very senior HR leader in the corporate world. She is a mentor to a lot of college students. She is on the board of NGOs that provide employment to disabled people. Apart from that, she is the one who's the reason why I put on weight every time, because she's an excellent baker, and she will just say, nahi, nahi, gluten free, and you end up having and put on 1 kilo each time. That's who she is. And she's a mother of 2 very beautiful teenage kids. So on that note, let's welcome Deepti Mittal. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Kanika, for introducing me in that manner. But yes, I think I'm a little nervous to be on this side and be the 42nd speaker. What Kanika said, that it took me so many episodes to come this side. It's easy to listen, but then to speak. And thank you, everybody, dil se thank you for coming and sparing time. And I hope I can say something interesting.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure, and that's the love. That is the love for you.
So I think it's just, I think I felt to Kanika that, yeah, I'm ready now. I can speak about the pain that I've gone through. And it's more about how to learn from that pain. Thank you once again for inviting me on this.
So Deepti, let's begin. Tell us a little bit for the people who are not here, who are watching on video. Give us a little brief about your early childhood, your growing up, and all the way maybe till your marriage, so that we understand, reference point.
So I think I've had an amazing childhood. The only child of an army-bred parents, and grandfather doted completely. I was the second child. My mom had lost the first child. And I think because of that, there was overing pampering happening at every stage. But yes, my mother used to be a checkpoint. You can't be, you have to do everything possible. Lifestyle. And I think where the flexibility and adaptability and living in a large joint family, my chachi is here, who plays the role of my mother now, supported me in this whole journey. And I think the bonds are there. My sister is here. It's the bond that has built by the parents, by my grandparents, which was an amazing journey. I think education I could choose. I had a very, I come from a family of doctors and engineers and army officers. I was the eldest grandchild, and I chose I don't want to be in any of those professions. The whole family supported. I was the first one who took arts as a student, and I failed miserably. So that was one of the first time I faced failure in life when I was doing my eco honors. And but tabhi, mummy, papa and all said, it's okay, we all keep trying. But I was like, no, I can't be a failure. So I think something happened wrong in the Delhi University results. Papers went for re-evaluation. But those 3 months, I learned a lot. What is failure? And my mother taught me how to smile through it. And it's not end of the world. Get up and do something else. I was a professional dancer. I'm a postgraduate in Kathak dance. But all those energy things, I even tried my hand at CA. My brother-in-law will agree how tough it is. So I was a science student, was studying arts, doing CA, failed in CA also. But I said, oh, this is not for me. And then I started enjoying my life, concentrated on one thing at a time. I live by the moment. I know my husband will disagree. I over-plan things, but I live at the moment. This is the priority in life. So that's how. My marriage also is a very funny thing. I was not ready to get married. And then my chachi and my mummy bulldoze me. I was ready to get married, but was not convinced, being an only child, my parents will be looked after. I never got that feeling. I'm talking about 25 years back, that there was an open environment on which I was brought up, wherein, there won't be patriarchal influence, but I found the correct match, kind courtesy, my parents, that we got married. And what bonded was, I mean, people have various checklists. I had a checklist. He should have a brother or a sister because I was the only child. He should be tall because my father was short in height. I couldn't wear heels. Should be a non-veg eating family. So I think I wanted a large, coming from a large family, I wanted a large family. And I think if Weber was not there, this wedding wouldn't have happened. Weber was my husband's brother. Yeah, so that's how the journey.
So, but tell me something, Deepti, at that age, and you and I are pretty much the same age, 3-4 साल का gap है. How did you know that these are the things that I want in my marriage, in my partner? Like, how, I'm asking because maybe I did not know. I didn't have like that understanding or clarity. How was that? Is that because you used to talk about it a lot
Yeah,
with
I
your
think I had
parents?
a very
Open conversations?
open conversation. And my mom was like, job karna, you have to be on your feet and then we'll get you married. And I was okay. And she says, तुमको कोई proposal आ रहा है? It's not that I'm not good looking or I don't have a good personality. I used to have boys falling all over. But I used to not accept, and my mom, and I used to discuss everything. उसने मुझे propose किया, तो क्यों नहीं accept किया? He's a perfectionist. I don't want a perfectionist. So if I used to ever complain about Parimal, तुमको perfectionist नहीं चाहिए था ना, complain मत करो.
So that means that your self-esteem was always high.
Yeah.
Your self-esteem and self-worth was high.
Yeah.
So that's a premise that we can start to build up on. That's amazing.
So MBA was an amazing journey. I got, I think my college friends are here today to support me. I had an amazing, and I used to do well, got placed nicely. I got transferred to Bangalore as my placement. And my mom was very strong. So if I used to say, us time pe 25 saal, we are going to finish 27 years of my college, and sending a girl away to Bangalore instead of Delhi was not heard of. And I was, no, she can do it. She can do it. And I used to cry, Aja, main ticket bhej raha hu. Come back home. It's okay. Don't work. But I think the balance between the parents was very, very good. So that's how the whole
journey.
Yeah. And I think I should add on, I got the same value system at my in-laws.
I was going to ask you this, that there's a value system alignment, and here, if I may say something, the whole thing about Saas Bahu and all that continues, but for a moment, if we can look at it also, ye bhi to ho sakta hai that the values that I come with and the values that are given to me, they either are matching or completely apart. Now, when they're completely apart, then whatever the person might be, आपको थोड़े ना पसंद आएंगे वो, क्योंकि आपके values match नहीं हो रहे. This realization came to me after speaking to her, that when she said my values aligned with my in-laws. So yeah, please go ahead.
So the values were, there was not something very different. They were also very open, came from a very traditional setup, my in-laws. But they were very open. I think both their sons are very well brought up. And at that time, I think now it's not a big thing we talk about men contributing in housework and all. Both are, and I think my sister-in-law will also agree, both men contribute in housework from day one. So there was never a fight. And I remember mummy saying, abhi office se aaiye, baith ja, chai wo log banayenge. So that kind of...
And did they say that, see, I do it also?
No, I think it was
because
all given.
वो भी एक होता है, जताना.
No, so वो कभी जताना नहीं हुआ. And I think Karwa Chauth mein we used to be sitting and eating, and they used to be cooking. And till that date, my co-sister-in-law Shruti is here. She'll agree. We both enjoy when they both work for us. But the only thing which I have a regret is mummy trained Vaibhav in kitchen and Parimal in cleaning. It was not. It was not. So I think I will not say it was a perfect relationship. There are ups and downs. For me, I accept and I try and find humor in everything that I live in day-to-day life. So that adds. So I'm not saying कि हमारी लड़ाई नहीं हुई या हमारे adjustment issues नहीं हुए. We come from a very different backgrounds. There were lots and lots, and still happens. But I think both me and Parimal find humor in everything. And Kanika would have seen in the morning today how Parimal and I converse. But yeah, so it's finding humor in the toughest situation, which takes you to the next level, is what I believe in and what's I've been brought up.
And I'm assuming that you and Parimal also have similar values, not just your in-laws.
Yes.
And did you sit down and actually discuss them, or were they
I
taken for
think
granted?
no.
No?
No, I think it's Kanika who you pointed it out while during our discussion that our values are similar. That's why the foundation is strong.
Is strong.
Yeah.
Okay. One thing we forgot to, touch upon was the career. I remember you mentioning some mentors that you had in your career that really,
Yeah.
really helped you.
So I think in BPL when I joined, there was a very senior guy who was the head HR, and imagine a management trainee reporting to an old guy of 55-year-old, Nandlal. But he would come down to my level to explain things. I used to be shit scared. But I think those Rakhi, in first source I had Ashu Kalapa. They gave me the flexibility to be the woman and think differently. Anando Mukherjee, everybody stood with me and said, go do what you want to do and do where you excel. And I think they all also realized my strength was I was over organized. I have a very picturesque memory. So if you give me a sheet, I can just produce it like that only. So that they all used to my advantage. My kids really wonder how can I remember their textbooks. So I know more than them, and they cannot fool me on that. So I think that all
It adds.
It adds to the.
So it keeps adding on.
And I think one person who mentored me, I was a very hyper person. If things were not going, I believed in two value system. I think that comes from an army background, and Chachi will agree to it. One is the integrity is very strong on my thing, and integrity, honesty, and punctuality. That even matched with my in-laws of that level. So if somebody, even in my team, did not match, I would have a tussle. With Parimal also, initially I had this tussle of punctuality big time. And Parimal was in a different mode. So we had a mentor who even mentored me in the corporate world called Anna Chandy. And she said, what's bothering you? Is it Parimal losing things? Or is it something, write off certain amount and then enjoy? After that, tiffin box nahi aaya, I think all the ladies will agree. If the husband's tiffin box doesn't come, we are the most fretting. Dabba chhod ke aa gaye. Yeah. So Parimal's lost rings, everything. But yeah, so somewhere that helped me to calm down and realize things can be looked at differently.
Different
And make a
viewpoints.
make fun of it. And
So that always came in, the smile
Yeah.
bit, the humor
Yeah.
bit. Moving on to we have sections. So second section is about your children. So let's speak about Anmol first. He was diagnosed with ADHD, and we know that he's
I think
almost
before just taking a
Yeah.
step back in the
Yeah.
kids, I think that time not having kids till 6 years of marriage was a taboo. Now you don't have the kids, it's fine. But at that time, not having for 6 years was considered to be bad. So we had my challenges through IVF, and everybody was like, and we had also reached a phase where I lost my mother-in-law when Anmol was 6, was 1 year old, and वो था कि पहले बच्चा मत करो, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, अब बच्चा कर दो, हम मरने वाले हैं. So it's not, which doesn't happen on a click of a button. There was tremendous pressure from all over to have kids. And it was not that Parimal and I didn't want to have kids. I think how the whole family supported in terms of some incidents, I don't want to even talk about it, were quite,
heartbreaking
when it was talked about, I was a bad lady, bad omen bringing to the family, not having kids. But yes, it still gives me goosebumps if I think about it. But yes, moment kids came in and Anmol brought a lot of joy. That's why he's Anmol.
Okay, that's nice. So we will come to Akanksha in a bit, but let's speak about Anmol for some time. So Anmol came in and
So I think Anmol and Akanksha both
they're 2-3
2-3 years apart. So we can so
together.
Akanksha brought in a lot of, there was a wish from my in-laws. Everybody wished for a girl child in the family after 3 generations. And Akansha came in, our fighter and survivor. For a
Oh,
lot of
that she
things.
is. I can vouch for that because I've worked with her. So,
So that was the time I lost my mother.
yes. So that's what we're going to speak about now. That then came this time when I remember you telling me that Anmol was diagnosed with ADHD
Just after that.
just after, and there were these 5 6 challenges that came together, and you had moved to Gurgaon. So if you can tell us about that, how together it came, and take us through, and then take us through also any support system that you had, and how were you feeling at that point?
So Akansha was 6 months when I lost my mother to cancer. Very painful period for me, losing both the mothers. And I was like, मेरे बच्चों को तो नानी दादी मिलेंगी ही नहीं. There'll be no pampering, which will happen. And I went into a phase of crying, and the happy me somewhere disappeared, which was always there. And when did that realization come? We moved to Gurgaon. The change from Bangalore to Gurgaon was not easy. One is from the whole atmosphere perspective, how Bangalore was, how we were living for 10 years. And we were married for 10 years around that time. And Anmol was in the school. He was asked to draw a family tree. And he drew everybody, and he did not draw my side of the family. And when the teacher questioned, then he says, no, I will not draw my nani, and I will not draw these people, because moment you talk about it, my mom cries and she is sad. And any family picture Anmol and Akansha would draw, so Papa is happy and together, and Mummy is sad, and I used to have always tears in my eyes. That, I think, shook me up. That what have I done to myself? And yes, career was doing great, so I was living 2 lives, in a corporate wherein I was the head HR, and glorious awards coming in, and here my kids were finding mom sad, because ultimately when you come home you remove that mask of yourself and you're crying. Yes, I was playing a good mother, but yes, there was a lot of pain, which was there. And then I went into my healing with another round with Anna Chandy. So far, Anna Chandy was doing from a corporate perspective. But yes, then she came in, wherein my healing of the loss of parents and all happened.
And so healing, I completely relate with.
Okay, let's just lighten up the
Yeah.
mood. How Parimal and I managed my travel schedule. Reaching to the calendar.
Go on.
Yeah, so I think everybody got a little emotional about the whole thing. So calendar, whoever touches the calendar, both are traveling jobs and had to reach the kids back. One of the parent, which was one of our parenting rule, that we have to reach home by 5. Who will reach at 5 o'clock used to be get decided for weeks before.
And that worked?
Yeah, that worked to a large extent. नहीं तो फिर दोनों पापा में से कोई आता था. If we
That's-
both couldn't reach.
That's so you both sat down to make a calendar around for your children.
Yeah, yeah.
And there were no ego hassles or
No,
anything.
no.
Ki, why should I do it? It's your job. None of that.
I think Parimal's a very hands-on dad. And the rule that we followed, even I think kids will remember now that why does it happen. Even now, if we are stepping out, my kids are supposed to have a bath and have breakfast before I leave the house. So whether it's a Sunday or anything, even as kids, if I had to hand over the kids to nanny, the bath had to be given by us, or you have to have it when we are around, and have your breakfast. That rule still stands.
I think those are great rules. They're great rules for the children. They can always tweak them later, but I think they'll hold them in good stead. Today, I thank my parents for some koote hue rules that are there. Helps. So, coming back to that tough phase, Deepti, who were first up? So you told about your healing. You were crying. That's how Anmol took it. We will come to Akanksha in a bit. But in the meanwhile, were there any family? Was there family support?
Yes,
then?
I think
Because थोड़ा कभी अकेला बहुत अकेला फील होता है उस टाइम पे.
My chachi, my bua, my sister who's here, they all supported me in terms of hearing me out. Shruti had come in our lives by that time. I think both of them had supported friends. I will not name few, but there were lots and lots of friends, including office colleagues. So if I was in office and my kids had certain rules that they cannot watch TV, they would sometimes, I'm in a meeting, they would pause and say, "We are mama here. You cannot switch on the TV right now."
Hmm.
So they would do that. But I think it was the toughest phase. My
Even your
managing,
father was,
yeah, that's what it
yeah.
is. So Papa at that time started getting diagnosed with dementia, and he was in Lucknow. I was remotely managing his house. That hit, and that was also the time Anmol got diagnosed with a disability and ADHD issues. We didn't know what to do as parents. So, school used to say late bloomer, September, extra classes. We were teaching and we were harsh with Anmol. And I have to say that. We were harsh with Anmol. Somewhere, I think Anna Chandy and I would say Parimal's sister, Bharti Didi, they came into our lives. I mean, she was there always. But she's made me realize that you as good students who are parents are not necessarily good teachers to the kids with these issues. Find tutors who help them understand and you teach. Don't
Yeah.
lose that because Anmol हमें देखता था और डर जाता था
Yeah. Yeah.
कि अब ये फिर मार पिटाई होगी या डांट होगी या क्या होगा. आई एम नॉट इन अ ट्रू सेंस आई एम सेइंग बट what will happen, it will be, there'll be a power struggle happening. It's very very difficult for parents to accept मुझे तो आता है मेरे बच्चे को क्यों नहीं आ रहा. हम you know things it's very very difficult. And these disabilities earlier I think used to not get diagnosed with the kind of schools we have in Gurgaon, and this got diagnosed. And it's really कभी चाची के पास रो रही होती थी, कभी बुआ के पास रो रही होती थी. मुझे समझ में नहीं आता मैं क्या करूं इधर. एंड इन द मीन टाइम आई शिफ्टेड माय डैड
To the same building.
yeah, to Gurgaon in a different flat. And he had stopped recognizing me. He would say that I'm killing, I have a kid that I cannot manage. Then I said, this is just not going to work. And I think I took the biggest decision of my life with Parimal's support that I can quit my career. लॉट ऑफ पीपल हेड एचआर है, इतना अच्छा कर रही है, क्यों छोड़ रही है, ये सब इश्यूज हो जाएंगे. आई सेड आई डोंट वांट एनी रिग्रेट इन माय लाइफ दैट आई डिडंट टेक केयर ऑफ दीज 2 or 3 people in my life.
So your family, you
Yeah.
chose your family.
I chose my
Over your
family,
career.
and with everybody's support, bouncing off at with my friends, am I doing it right? Your life initially when you work as a independent woman is all about your power that you hold in that position. Head HR of a 40,000 strong company, ye kar do, wo kar do, it was like this. Manage this, do this, and here you are struggling. And I think I'm so happy Archana could come here of some Vedna. I think some Vedna was starting, which works in the dementia care. She sat down with me, and I would have high peaks of stress and burst outs. And they would, Ravina was there at that time, and Archana, होता है, चिंता नहीं करो, होता है, सब नॉर्मल है, हमें सेफ करना है, हमें ये मोमेंट्स इंजॉय करने हैं. My outlook changed. Why am I fretting? I'm going to lose him someday or the other. Even if he's not remembering me, let me make that happy space. I created full Lucknow in my another apartment that I had for my father. Everything came from Lucknow, paintings to things. But it's easy to laugh it off at this point of time. But imagine your dad calling you Parimal ki bibi and complaining that I'm not giving him food, I'm keeping him hungry, was tough. And I think one incident really shook me was the kids were very fond of my father. And from coming back from school, they would always drop in. We stay on the 7th floor, this flat was on the 6th floor, and they would say, hello, Nanu, and then come up. One day, Akansha came up, and Anmol did not. So I asked Akansha, where is Anmol? He said, wo Nanu ke saath baat kar raha hai. Anmol didn't come for 15 minutes. As a mother, I said, he will not sit for such a long time. And I went down and I asked my father, where is Anmol? कौन Anmol? यहाँ कोई Anmol नहीं आया. And I was like, नहीं अभी तो यही था. And then I heard scuffles. Anmol, my dad was strangling Anmol, considering him to be a spy. So I didn't know. This was like, and I couldn't tell him because he thought, because he was an army officer, he thought he's a spy from China. He has fought the wars and he has come to invade my territory. So, and Anmol was crying. He's anyway scared of loud noise and मेरे को समझ में नहीं आया मैं क्या करूं. मैंने अनमोल को लिया. मैंने I told Papa's attendants, take care of Papa. I'll be back in some time. It's no point. But I think somewhere I said उनसे मैं क्या लड़ूं? उनसे मैं क्या गुस्सा करूं? He doesn't know what he's doing. Yeah, so I think I calmed Anmol down. But I think I'm very proud of both my kids. Irrespective of that incident, and some minor incidents used to happen, they were very fond of Nanu, whether Nanu remembered him or not. And they would come play carom with him, and his life would be normal. ठीक है, भूल गए, हो गए. And here I have to say, my father-in-law, my brother-in-law, or my chachi, if I wanted to take a break, I could, because I could leave him in their care.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I think my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, all four of us as a family, have never gone, four of us gone out together because there was one father to take care, one or the other. So जैसे हम लोग आपस में कैलेंडर ब्लॉक करते थे, वैभव एंड परिमल कैलेंडर ब्लॉक करते, कौन
The responsibility sharing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not just
So-
you doing everything.
Yeah.
And Anmol here.
And I will not say it has been a partnership throughout. And it's even my support system. There is a beautiful person called Asta who's come, who has been Anmol's special educator. And till date, if I cannot manage Anmol, I bounce off things with her. She and I think it means a lot for me to come here saying. But Pratima, who's also was Anmol's tutor, Meenu is not there, and my amazing friends who've come here, who've always, I think I took today's permission to talk about Anmol's disability, but I've been very vocal about it and reached out for support to friends and family and school.
Yeah. So you didn't keep it yourself.
Yeah.
You actually went out to get help.
Huh.
And I think the way you tell me about Anmol is that he was very open to it, and he, of course, you asked his permission. This is for people on listening on video. We've been speaking about her father. In between, it may have sounded a little confusing. Her father was suffering from dementia, and there was that incident that she spoke about. And of course, Anmol, her son, he is now out of
Yeah.
ADHD. So that is done. I want to now move to your younger child, which is Akanksha.
Yeah.
But before
before,
but
just,
I just want to take a moment and talk from my point of view about Akanksha. And this is because I've been, Deepti has been kind enough to support all my careers. I've had a lot of careers in life. And as an architect, an artist, Zumba instructor, life coach, and today this. And she's been there. Her house has been designed by me. All the art you see is done by me. And I've also tutored her children, Akanksha especially, with general art. I want to say this, that I don't know how Akanksha would have, now that you're saying all this, I'm looking from a very different perspective as Akanksha, the younger kid. She came in at a time when her older brother was going through all that. Her mother obviously was so heavily entrenched with both the fathers you just mentioned. You had the sadness and the loss, the feeling of loss of your mother. And then you had lost your job, which she's not going to understand now. She's not going to understand what being a career woman means. In that, now again, shifting the focus back to you as a mother, Deepti, what do you think Akanksha was feeling at that time? When she was growing up, what do you think? Did she ever talk to you? Did you talk to her? Like, this is for anybody who's listening and going through something similar. So what happens? Because they are different also. Both your children are very different to each other. So like that.
Yeah, I think as a mother in Akanksha's case, I did neglect her and I feel very bad about it. She became very close to Parimal and she's Papa's girl. Lot of times she doesn't confide into me. Also, she grew up earlier than the rest, than Anmol. She also at times protected her brother from bullying, um, and her creativity came out in different sense. Somewhere I feel I had not been fair to her, and somewhere I have now overcompensated in some way. Yeah, but I think she has been a very, very different kid. And a lot of people who hear me on Facebook, and I share very interesting one liners by her. She doesn't think straight.
Yeah, I think she is possibly, and I feel I'm the most creative person in my life. I do. Yes, ये पर्दाफाश करने की जरूरत भी नहीं है. Let me be in my bubble. But I have met Akanksha, who I feel is so creative. This girl, oh, and intelligent. So intelligence with creativity is divinity. She is not aware of her power. Deepti is also not aware because of the reasons she just said. I will not. I'm nobody to tell how the neglect bit and all. I'll not say no, no, not neglect. I'm not you, यार. You would know. लेकिन ना मैं बोलूँगी नहीं किया है वो आपका
So
truth है.
somewhere also, oh, you can do it. You can do it. Now when I'm trying to build that bond with her, it's taking a toll on me. It's taking a toll on her because she's not used to her mother. Her mother has been not her true friend. Her father has been her friend, because losing my mother, having my father here, that did affect her big
I'm
time.
sure. I'm sure.
And she was, and like her sports, she's very good in her sports. Part of it was at skating. She was in district level volleyball. But I think somewhere I had to choose my priority. And as a mother, to drop her for practice at 5 a.m. meant a lot of adjustments for me.
And
So
she must have taken it otherwise.
yeah, she, I
Yeah.
think, has taken it the other
And
way.
which is fair. वो बच्चा है
Yeah,
वो वैसे ही लेगी. But I
so
hope
she
that
had to give up her volleyball career because I could not, with drop her or pick her up and take her for the practice, because Parimal was also traveling quite a bit, managing the house and there. But what she always does, and when I'm sad, always cracks the comedy part of it. I think she's got that from me and Parimal more than Anmol has. And my baking, also during that time of losing my job, and a lot of people said, but even she said, I'm a good baker. I started a bakery. 2 years I ran it. It was running very successfully. It's called Bakes and Grub. But I couldn't take that pressure with two things. And you're doing desserts for people, for their happiness. And somewhere at the back end, you have sadness.
yeah.
And there are unpredictable behaviors that will happen. Customers did not understand. They were screaming at me and shouting if I delivered something late. I said, बस ये छड़ो, ये इसको क्यों करना है? डांट भी खाओ, खुशी भी दो. I will now only cook, and I just could not sell. One of those people who could not sell the products, which I make with love. So friends can still order with me.
Yeah, I
and
know that. I've been asking
yeah,
you, and that's.
but you can do barter with me, but no cost is involved in it. So I think before Papa's death, I had decided I will, you know, uh,
Take it
close my
easy.
bakery.
Yeah.
But I think Papa's death just sealed it. Thing. The compliment that I had received from the doctor of Medanta, that my dad, one of those few cases where dementia signs were reversing, and Archana will agree. Before Papa's death, he started to write back again, and Samvedna really worked hard on those points. He had his whole birthday menu written down with the guest list and everything, which I still have preserved. And it was just, I think he left without being completely bedridden. In a way, I'm happy he went like that.
Thank you, Deepti. Thank you for being so candid. And this actually helps all of us here in some way or the other. You have actually opened up on illnesses, on issues, on conditions.
I think all my four parents have died to some terminal illness or the other. So it did take a toll financially, physically on us. Not so much financially, because both the parents really made sure that their finances were well taken care. They don't, बच्चों से नहीं लेना है. So they were there. My father-in-law, who celebrated each and every event in my life, especially corporate. When I decided to quit my job, and 31st March 2017 was my last day as a head HR, he threw a party at Leela's.
Your father-in-law.
My father-in-law threw.
That's unheard of. It
Yeah,
is the
so
in-laws
he
celebrating.
said, I have to celebrate your success and your awards. And I became a board member on 2, 3 organizations before he left. He says, you've just made me proud of things. And the one that I'm talking about, Bharti Didi, she's very senior leader in the industry, and she was in the top powerful woman. She says, मुझे लगता है तुम हमारे घर की भारती दीदी हो. And that was the biggest compliment
Given to you.
yeah, given to me. And you've also managed your house and kids. These were his last words to me when he came last to stay before his death in May.
Great. Deepti, now we move on to the final section, which is the voice of smiles. Your last parting message to the audience and to the people who are listening online. What would you like to say now from your story to the world?
So I think when people come to you, fine, you are in pain, करने आएंगे, पर बहुत ज़्यादा दुखना नहीं सुनना चाहते. They want to take back something nice from you, and they will only come to you when you're in a happy frame of mind to even discuss these things. When I do caregiving counseling for those things, I always say, be happy, enjoy that moment, capture. Maybe seeing death so soon in life has made me that strong. That I always say, enjoy karo, wo to hona hi hai. And when my father-in-law was staying with me, I said, picture देखने जाना है, जाओ, कोई नहीं है, मैं लेके जा रही हूँ, मुझे कोई problem नहीं है. But enjoy, don't crib. Nobody will come to your house. And I think Kanika practices minimalism, and my house is just the opposite of minimalism. The kind of guest I have at home, every time it's an open door, that just speaks.
Yeah.
So
I vouch for that. She's been there. I mean, whatever she's saying, I vouch completely.
So she's saying, ये तुम्हारे show pieces मैं हटा देती हूँ when she was doing my designing. I said, नहीं, ये कहीं के वो है. So they've gone out and have become a selfie corner for my full society. So we have a Christmas tree, we have everything that we celebrate each and every occasion. I would just say, for me, I think I was a fun-loving person. Smile has been a therapy for me. It just relaxes me, and it is in a way of, for me, pause and reflect when you're doing that in that moment. It's a beautiful thing. It'll come back to you. And I think today is a testimony of so many people sending me messages, some of you taking time to come here and listen to me, is something, is what my smile is all about.
It's a testament.
Yeah. You will feel the control, and it's okay to feel sad. It's fine. It's okay to cry. There are days. And these are the joke in my house is she's having menopause issues. That's why she's screaming and moving around. Yeah. So just keep the communication on with whoever you have. Be transparent. And I think it will just be a happy place.
Thank you so much, Deepti. Thank you. So smile goes a long way, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Deepti.